Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the August 2021 meeting of the Escambia County School Board. We certainly appreciate you being here as I call this meeting to order. We appreciate those that are joining us live and those that might be viewing us on the live stream. We appreciate your interest in the education of the students of Escambia County. I want to ask you to please at this time silence your cell phones and remind you that if you wish to speak to either an agenda item or a public forum, you must complete a speaker form found at the table at the rear of the room and bring it to Mrs. Dwelly at the front table. This is the board's practice to pull any items that are part of the consent agenda if anyone needs to speak to one of those. The consent agenda includes the items that deal with curriculum instruction, finance and business, services, human resources, and operations. We must have all the forms in before the approval of the consent agenda. This meeting was properly advertised in the Pensacola News Journal, July the 24th, 2021. It is our tradition as the Escambia County School Board to begin our meeting with an invocation or a motivational moment, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. This month, Mr. Adams, District 1, will lead us. Sir?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I am pleased to welcome Blake Nets, pastor of Beulah Church. They're located on 7561 Mobile Highway. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the pledge.
Thank you for the invitation, Kevin. Let's pray. Father, we love you. We thank you for the awesome privilege that we have to call upon you in prayer. And Lord, we thank you for this time we have to gather together. I pray, Lord, that you will be with our many students, Lord, this year. I pray that you will give them the strength and determination to learn, Lord, and to do the things you would have them to do. Pray that you'll be with our teachers and our faculty. Pray that you will, Lord, keep them safe, keep them healthy, and Lord, give them discernment as they navigate the school year. Be with this board in this meeting. I pray that you will give them wisdom. And Lord, I pray that you are honored and glorified in all that is done. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you, Pastor.
Okay, at this time, we will move to the adoption of the agenda. Mr. Superintendent, are there any additions or deletions to your recommended agenda?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do have a few tonight. On page 4 under purchasing, item 25 has been added. That is furniture for the Food Services Department. Item 26 has been added. That is school buses. Also on page 4 under Human Resource Services, Section D, Employee Services, item 1 has been corrected. That's an agreement with the Escambia Education Association concerning the extension of the master contract. Next, on page 5 under items from the board, item 3 has been added. That is the Escambia County School Board 2021-2022 legislative platform. Also on page 5, under items from the superintendent, section 3, employee discipline, item A was added and later deleted. Section 4, other items, item B has been added.
Thank you, sir. State statutes and school board rules require that changes made to the agenda after publication be based on a finding of good cause determined by the person designated to preside over the meeting and stated in the record. I do find that all these items meet those qualifications. Is there any objection from any board member to the additions or deletions? If not, do I have a motion to accept the amended agenda?
I move the approval of the agenda, Mr. Chair.
Amended.
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 Yeah.
As amended.
As amended.
Right.
I'll second.
As amended. Thank you, ma'am. Any discussion? If not, please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you very much. All right, at this time, we will move on into committee and departmental reports, starting with the PTA presentation. Welcome, ladies.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, school board members, superintendent, and staff. With me this evening, I have Bree Bruni, my first VP. PTA's mission is to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children. School has started, and our PTAs are ready to also go back to school. PTA teams are busy looking for new and innovative ways to engage and advocate for our students, teachers, and parents. As you know, participation in PTA creates a culture of involved parenting, leading to better student behavior and grades, as well as more appreciated teachers. Escambia County PTA is working hard to ensure our local units are fostering a long-term commitment to parental involvement at school. This past Saturday, we hosted our annual leadership training from 8 to 2 at Pensacola Junior College. We had over 100 PTA, PTO, and Booster Club leaders pre-registered representing schools in both Escambia and in Santa Rosa County. 18 classes were offered during our training sessions, and 40 nonprofit and for-profit vendors offering program and fundraising ideas participated in our vendor affair. Thank you, Dr. Smith, Ms. Payne, Mr. Fetzko, for taking time to show your support by attending our event. On behalf of our Escambia County Council of PTAs and our local PTA and PTSA units, we appreciate the partnership and look forward to a great year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And so just stay right there so we can now have an item read by the superintendent of PTA membership. This is PTA membership month resolution, sir.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the resolution. Whereas the Escambia County Council of PTAs has a long tradition of seeking the highest possible educational advantages for all children and youth so they can realize their full potential. And whereas the Escambia County Council of PTAs assists parents in developing the skills they need to nurture and protect their children and encourages parent and public involvement in public schools in our community, and speaks on behalf of children and schools in the community, in organizational meetings and before public governing bodies. And whereas during the month of September 2021, special activities will be held to promote parent involvement, expand the membership of the Escambia County Council of PTAs, and broaden the PTA's base of support so it becomes a strong and more effective voice for children in education. And whereas it is the role of the Escambia County Council of PTAs to encourage parent involvement by promoting an environment in which parents are valued as primary influences in their children's lives. And whereas for more than 124 years, PTA has been a powerful voice for children, a relevant resource for parents, and a strong champion for public education, committed to making sure parent participation in education is meaningful. Now, therefore, be resolved that the School Board of Escambia County, Florida, does hereby recognize the month of September 2021 as PTA Membership Month in the School District of Escambia County, Florida, and calls upon families, schools, businesses, and communities to be our partners in announcing this resolution and to become active in participating this month. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be spread upon the minutes of the regular meeting of said board, and that a copy be tendered to Samaris Curvin, ECC PTA President, and Bree Bruni, ECC PTA First Vice President, adopted this 17th day of August 2021.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a motion to accept this?
I move to accept the resolution.
Thank you.
A
Do
second.
we have a second?
May I have a question, please?
A question? Yes, you can.
The first question is, I would like for it to get linked. I know we're going to put it in the minutes, but I would like for it to be linked so that people can pull it. I am not sure why it didn't get linked prior to the meeting, because I think it's important for people to know that this is Membership Month, and just seeing it there may not be enough. So I'd like to, if if that would be appropriate.
Yes, we have discussed that situation.
And then I have another personal comment, because I was not able to attend the leadership thing. I want to remind all PTAs out there that if they ask me, I will join.
All right, any other discussion? Yes, sir.
Along those lines, I spoke with Michelle Salzman, who was there on Saturday, and told her that it would be nice if there was some way for us to join all of the PTAs in like one fell swoop rather than the individual.
Yeah.
And she said she was going to look into that so that the potential is there for us to be able to support all of the PTAs with one action.
We will definitely look into that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, we'll probably most likely send you an email with all of the information on how you can sign up.
Okay. All right, any other discussion? And if not, please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you very much. Please come forward and receive the resolution. And
Thank you.
Not shaking hands.
to the war job. War job. All right. Okay, moving on, Mr. Superintendent. Now the Stellar Employee of the Month.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is my pleasure this evening to announce the stellar employee for the month of August is Miss Christy Krug. Ms. Krug, please come forward with your coworkers, family, and friends. The Escambia County School District's Office of Community Involvement is proud to recognize Miss Christy Krug as the stellar employee for the month of August 2021. Christy Krug is the school secretary at C.A. Weiss Elementary School. She started at C.A. Weiss at the beginning of the 2020-21 school year in what proved to be a year that required patience, flexibility, passion, and a positive attitude. Ms. Krug exemplified each of these traits and more. She could be found doing the job of 3 people or more on any given day. Ms. Krug serves in one of the most essential and integral roles at C.A. Weiss because she is the first face that families meet. Ms. Krug is instrumental in connecting families to the resources that are relevant to the growth of their students. She is often found chatting with a student in the cafeteria or in the hallway, encouraging good choices and reminding them they are in a safe environment and loved by all. Ms. Krug develops relationships with students who need it most. There are times when she may even invite a student to eat lunch in her office as an incentive. Ms. Krug always has her listening ears turned on and rushes to help with any situation where an adult is needed. A teacher stated the following about Ms. Krug. She takes the time to get to know each and every teacher, student, and parent. When things are out of order, she is always ahead of it. She communicates well, is very organized, and excellent at what she does. On top of being amazing at her job, she is always uplifting and encouraging. Another teacher stated it, this small things Ms. Krug does, like personally delivering packages to the classroom, helping families with remote learning, and being so incredibly vested in the families who need the most help. Her friendly smile, warm personality, and continual compassionate demeanor exemplify the mission of C.A. Weiss. In short, not a day goes by that staff does not think or say, "What would we do without Miss Krug?" Christy Krug is stellar because of her excellent work ethic and dedication to the staff and students throughout the Escambia County School District. She exemplifies the pillars of people and service. And it is for these reasons, and so many others, that she has been selected as our stellar employee of the month of August 2021. She will receive a plaque, pin, and a check for $100 from Members First Credit Union. Congratulations.
With you. She can come up if she wants to.
Thank you, everybody. I am totally blessed to be working at CAY's elementary school with an awesome team. We handle a lot, and we do it all together, and I'm so happy to be part of the team. I'm gonna go for a cry. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and congratulations. All right, our next item is set aside for public forum. I do not have any speaker forms for requesting any public forum tonight, so if we don't see any, then we're not going.
In the back.
Yes. You got it filled out for us? Bring it on. What's your name?
Cody Brown.
Cody?
Yes, sir.
All right, Cody. Without reading all of it, you have 3 minutes. Please address the board or the superintendent using titles, and thank you for coming. Go ahead.
My son's a student at Kingsfield Elementary. First day of school, parents and all were able to walk kids to class and everything. And we overheard a parent telling a teacher that his wife came down with COVID. Next thing you know, we felt uneasy about it, didn't want to leave him. Now the teacher's out with COVID. All the students in the class just got a call saying that they can't return to school until the 23rd. You know, last year, this virus wasn't attacking students like it is this year. This year, we're having a bigger issue. I'm not a mask person. I'll be the first to tell you I'm not a vaccine person. I went and got the vaccine because it's a time right now we need to be selfless. You know, we got kids that are relying on us in different parts of the country. There's kids that are going to be orphans. You know, my son isn't showing any symptoms, but I mean, we just got to be better stewards, because even like today, you know, he was last in contact with a teacher on Friday. Well, symptoms don't show up from 4 to 6 days from what a doctor, pediatrician told us today. Now they're asking us to come up to the school, grab paperwork, all of that kind of stuff. There's just got to be a better solution. Last year, my son wore a mask every single day. He has asthma. He never got sick. I mean, Miss Tran did an excellent job with her students. This year, we're not even a week in, and now I've got to have my son out of school, which he's a first grader, for a whole week. Now my daughter is out of school as well due to being in close contact. You know, I understand that it's governor's office that we have to deal with in order to get it come down, but I mean, we need to have a voice. I mean, I'll write the governor, I'll do whatever I have to do, but we just need somebody to step up and help. Miss Sabrina Cunningham does a great job at Kingsfield Elementary, but there is a big problem. I mean, I've talked to many parents whose kids are out of school this week due to COVID. I mean, it's an issue. But, you know, last year we addressed something that was attacking elderly and adults. My mother-in-law, who is on hospice, has now been in contact with my little boy over the weekend, and we had no recollection of this. Now I have to worry because it attacks your lungs. She's on oxygen. Her lungs function at 12%. I got to pray that he doesn't have COVID so that she doesn't pass away. I mean, so basically I just want somebody to help facilitate. If we have to do it together, we got to do something. We have to do something. I mean, it's an issue at hand. And no one wants to do a mask every single day. No one wants to do it. But I will do it to help protect the students in Escambia County. I mean, I'll do it. So that's basically what I have to say.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on, Mr. Superintendent, to the administrative appointments.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have 3 this evening that we will introduce. So do we want to do collective vote?
Are they, I'm waiting to see if they come up, how they come up on the,
All together.
okay, so
You want a motion to
you want
approve
to do
all
a,
three?
you want to do a motion?
You want them to do it individually or a motion to approve all 3? And then he introduces them individually.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do them individually. That's just easier.
Want to name the person and then we'll do a motion.
Okay, the first person is Amy Burns. She is currently a dean at Beulah Middle School and will be going to Workman Middle School as an assistant principal.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a motion to approve Amy Burns?
I move to approve the superintendent's recommendation.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? If not, please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Ms. Burns?
Up, come on up.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's good to
Congratulations. God bless you for having to deal with it. God, in Escambia County.
So, good evening, everyone. Again, Dr. Smith, thank you so much for this opportunity. Ms. Payne, also in our previous conversations. I am looking forward to this transition to Workman. I have only been in Escambia about 2 years, so I am still learning the ropes. I do thank Mr. Taylor and Ms. McCaskill for giving me that opportunity to step into the dean role. And I'm looking forward to being back in administration, coming from that in Louisiana, since most of you probably don't recognize my name. That's where most of my time has been spent. And I'm excited to get started. I know I still have another week to go, but I am going to go visit tomorrow and another day to start to get my feet wet with Mr. Thomas, and I'm looking forward to joining his team and moving Workman forward as we go into this next school year. So thank you all again. Oh, and my husband, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, my husband, Mike, who Mr. Fetzko recognized. So his endless support, yes. He is a Catholic high boy, not a public school person, but our graduate, rather. He has been very supportive of me through this process, and I appreciate all of that. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have Cody Strother, who is currently an assistant principal at West Florida High. He will be moving into the coordinator for marketing and public relations.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a motion for Mr. Strother?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? If not, please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Come forward, Mr. Struther.
You don't have to worry about me again, aren't you?
Always worry about you.
Yeah, well, we always, yeah.
Had a job at West Florida High School. when I was around
The board, Superintendent Smith, Deputy Superintendent Payne, Mr. Dennis, Mr. St. Cyr, Mr. Leonard, Mr. Marcanio, thank you for the opportunity. I came back here in 2010 and went through numerous administrative interviews, and there was a guy in CNI at the time, kind of high up in CNI, who kept telling me, come back, keep applying, keep interviewing. And so I did, and got an opportunity, I thought, at Pine Forest. And when I walked in, they said, we're doing Pine Forest and West Florida. So I was, okay. And I get a call from Ms. Spooner asking me if I wanted to come to West Florida. And of course I said yes. And it just is illustrative of you don't really know what you want sometimes. And sometimes when you think you know your path, God's got a different path for you. So I'm just really grateful for that. I'm grateful for my wife, Kendra. Grateful for my kids, for their support. I'm excited. This is going to be a great opportunity to build on what is already a really good relationship between our stakeholders and our district. And I can't wait to get started. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have Holly Wilkins. She is going to be moving from the principal position at Montclair Elementary to Director of Continuous Improvement and School Choice.
Do I have a motion?
I'll move the superintendent's recommendation.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? If not, please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Congratulations.
Good evening. I'd like to thank Superintendent Smith, Chairman Slayton, and all the board members for this opportunity. I look forward to this journey where I have the privilege of supporting multiple schools across the school district, as well as working with the dedicated professionals in school choice, ESOL, and grants management. I'd like to take a minute to thank a few people that have supported me along the way. First and foremost, I'd like to thank my family for always supporting me. As you know, being an educator has an impact on the entire family. I'd also like to thank the many mentors I've had professionally along the way, but most importantly, Connie Farish and Stu Greenberg, that between the two have coached me from the classroom as a teacher to where I am today. Most importantly, I'd like to thank Montclair Elementary School and the Montclair community. My 5 years at Montclair have been the most challenging and most rewarding years of my career. During this time, I had the distinct privilege of working with some of the most dedicated and hardworking educators I've ever encountered, and met some of the strongest and most resilient students of all time. The Montclair community as a whole has made me a better human being, and I will be forever grateful for all the lessons I've learned from the teachers, students, parents, and community members. My hope is that I can be the same support and positive influence for others that Montclair has been for me. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity to try. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next we have the adoption of 4 sets of minutes. 7:15, 21, 7:20, 21, 7:22, 21, and 7:29, 21. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Chair, move the minutes in affirmative.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you very much. Any discussion on the 4 sets of minutes or any of them? If not, please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you very much. Moving on. Okay, we have no unfinished business. And under new business, we have a proposal, a rules adoption, notice of intent to adopt the amendments to the Escambia County School District Student Progression Plan. Do I have a motion?
I move the adoption of the amendments to the School District of Escambia County Student Progression Plan.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Second. All right. Do we have anyone to speak to this issue
Mr. Chair?
from the
Oh, you
public?
got a hearing first?
Going first.
Hearing first. Okay. Now, do I have any discussion from the board?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, I will be voting no on this agenda item tonight due to the removal of the first grade and third grade retention, 2.0 GPA requirement accountability standards. I believe it's the wrong time with the poor testing data we recently received to remove these accountability standards in our progression plan. I understand staff has stated that we will have accountability measures to mitigate this risk, but I still have concerns on possible future poor third grade results in the future. And I know we discussed this a lot Friday.
Thank you. I do want to point out, we are not removing the third grade retention,
Just first.
Just the
only
first.
first.
The 2.0 requirement we're removing for third, right?
No, the state requires the retention part of the third grade. The county cannot remove it. The only thing we are removing is the mandatory first grade retention.
Okay, on page 35 of 92, Elizabeth, will you bring that up? Make sure I'm correct here. I think we got to strike out on the 2.0 when you go there.
Yes,
Okay,
that is,
all right,
the
that's what I'm
2.0
talking
is
about
also.
right there, and I heard the explanation from the staff on it.
yeah,
So
the 2.0
that's
is
the two
correct.
parts I'm objecting for,
That's-
first grade and third grade.
That's eighth grade.
This is for middle school.
Eighth grade,
Yes.
eighth grade.
Okay. Yeah, we're not,
Yeah.
we
Sorry.
can't.
My apologies, eighth grade.
Eighth grade,
Yes.
right.
For them to move up to high school, you're right.
So you don't have any concerns about third grade anymore, like you said?
Well, I've got problems with the first retainment, because if we saw the data back before this process was implemented, I think we saw the reason why they implemented what we did for first grade, okay? Now, we'll know in the future what will happen at third grade. You're correct, Patty.
Okay.
But then I have a problem with this too, okay? And as I said before, sometimes we're gonna agree to disagree, and we're gonna move along.
Any other discussion?
I do want to point out, if I can, sir, that there are other things in place for those eighth graders in the 2.0 GPA requirement. Again, the first grade retention and this 2.0 to move on to high school was a district imposed and not state. There are other mitigating factors and other programs that have been put in place to help the middle school students who are credit or course deficient, so that the requirement for the 2.0 is no longer needed and really was more of a hindrance to students progressing than a help to keeping them with the right GPA when they hit high school.
Very well said. Thank you. Anybody else?
I just want to point out that on the same page, D, points out that 8th grade students must successfully complete all 12 and 1/2 core course requirements in order to be promoted to 9th grade. So it's basically still saying that they've got to be successful before we move them forward.
Right.
And I don't know whether Dr. Roberts would want to make any comments about what other opportunities there are so that we're making sure that our middle schoolers are ready for high school before they move into that arena.
Well, I think it's very appropriate to say we are not allowing social promotion.
Right.
You don't just go to school and get promoted. That there are things that we have to do, that they have to do, and they can be retained. But this frees it up. The discussion had to do with elementary students were being retained twice in their first 3 years, putting them well over age. And then you retain again in the 8th grade. You've got students that are almost at the age of graduation. So I think that the appropriateness is we gave it a try. We didn't. We're coming back to saying it didn't work. So now we need to move on from there.
May I make one other point?
You may.
Also with the first grade retention policy, we have put some additional resources in place because one of the things that always bothered me is when a student is retained, what do we do that's different to help them move forward? And I have been assured that we now have, and I would use the RTI, response to intervention. Did I get it right? Okay, good. Which will look at what a student's struggles, where they're struggling, and we'll have people that will address where those are happening. So hopefully we won't have as many retained in 3rd grade because we're going to address those issues earlier than 3rd grade.
I also want the public to know that there are ITI teachers being assigned to every school. This is not just every now and then you might put one in. Every school will have an RTI instructor working with deficient students.
If I can.
Yes, sir.
Going back to RTI, I agree that historically, when students were retained, it was hoped or believed that different strategies would be used, different materials, different methods of instruction. The difference with RTI is it's very prescriptive. So if this happens or doesn't happen, it tells the teachers and the administration at the school what must happen and not just leave it to somebody to make a decision, oh, I'll try this differently or I won't. It tells them what steps must be taken, what things need to happen. So there is a difference to it.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Superintendent.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, just wanted to add a point too, just for clarity, that with first grade retention, what we're talking about is eliminating a mandatory first grade retention. The school principal still has the authority to retain a student. The principal now will have a lot of ability to look at a wide scope of performance indicators and to also position well in the second grade remediation. So it just gives the principal a lot of flexibility and a much more likelihood of not having as many kids retained. So just wanted to make that point, that it still is possible.
Yes, thank you. Any other comments? If not, please vote.
Motion carries 4-1.
Thank you very much. All right. Next on the agenda, we do not have any items for permission to advertise, so we will move into the consent agenda. I have a note here that under curriculum, we need to pull VB1C2. That is for Dr. Edler, because she is part of the Community Action Committee that impacts. Yes, thank you. All right, so that takes care of that one. Anything else under curriculum that we need to pull? Everybody's good for curriculum? Okay. Then finance and business services.
I do hate to go back, but I would like to pull for a question under purchasing, I think is where it is. Item VB4A1A. It's the miscellaneous repairs at multiple facilities.
Give me the lettering of that again.
VB4A1A. For capital A, one small a.
Elizabeth. Oh, miscellaneous repairs at multiple, okay, operations.
Oh, you're pulling what's in operations.
Oh, wait, it's operations, okay. Sorry, I got ahead of you.
Way
I'm glad you found that.
Gonna say, I am looking for that number and cannot find it. Okay.
This is operations, finance, and business services, so.
Okay, all right. So is there anything else under finance and business services? No, thank you. Human resource services, anything under HR services that needs to be pulled? Okay, now, anything under operations,
Yes,
what might that be?
A4A1A.
Okay,
Miscellaneous repairs at multiple facilities.
4A, 1A. Anything else under operations? All right, I need a motion to accept all the other agenda items under the consent agenda with the exception of VB1, 2C in curriculum and 4A, 1A under operations. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Any questions? All right. If not,
Good way.
no discussion, please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. All right, let's go back to curriculum.
Mr. Chair,
Need a motion for BB1C2.
I move the approval of the contract between the School Board of Escambia County, Florida, and the Community Action Program Committee, Incorporated.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Any discussion? If not, please vote. Dr. Edler,
She doesn't vote.
you can't vote.
You want me to
Yeah, we
cancel.
re-vote.
Okay. Revote.
Revote.
This is one you can't vote on.
Thank you.
Motion carries 4-0.
All right.
Ping me now.
I need a motion on miscellaneous repairs at multiple facilities.
I move the approval of the miscellaneous repairs at multiple facilities.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I wanted to ask about what are the repairs here that are under CAY, do any of these have to do with the roof? This-
No, ma'am, they do
Okay,
not.
all right, because I wasn't going to approve them if they did.
No, ma'am, we still have quite a bit to do on the roof yet.
Yeah, I've heard.
Right, but no, we're on schedule. Actually, we're ahead of schedule, and now we're probably going to finish on schedule, which is in about 2 months.
How long?
About 2 months.
2 months. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me. Any other discussion? If not, please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right, moving on over to items from the board. We have 3 items from the board. The first one is for out of district travel. That is item number 1. Do I have a motion to approve item number 1?
I'll move it in affirmative.
Thank you. Any second? Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? If not, please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right, item 2. This is for approval of out-of-state travel. Do I have a motion?
I move the approval of the out-of-state travel.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I just want to make a statement that both of these requests do not necessarily mean that we're going to go to these things, but it is required by statute that we make our citizens aware of our possible travel plans. But I also want to say that it's important for each of us to get professional training, just like the rest of our staff.
Thank you. Any other discussion? If not, please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, item number 3, which we added, the Escambia County School Board 2021-2022 Legislative Platform. Briefly, you want to explain what the Florida School Board Association asked us to do?
Yes, they asked us to come up, I guess, by September to come up with platform issues that we could submit to the FSBA, but also, even if FSBA does not pick one of these, this is something that we can advocate for as Escambia County School District and the school board with the superintendent and the board members. So hopefully they will, get 1 or 2 off our platform we're submitting, but it's possible that maybe none, so we don't know. So, but anyway, I think it was a great platform we came up with, and do we need to put it on the screen? Did she get it on there? Okay. Well, you probably need a motion before we discuss, right?
I move to adopt
Yes.
the legislative priorities.
All right, and I'll second.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Is there any discussion?
Now, that's what I was going to ask my board members. They had any edits or changes to what we have there? It looked pretty good to me. I think Elizabeth did a great job.
Okay. Any discussion? You want to roll that just in case anybody?
Well,
Keep
for
going.
the sake of the public, we did discuss these items individually at the workshop on
We did.
Thursday. Yeah.
Yes.
Right, and that's even where we came up with the suggestions for more funds for voluntary
Right.
pre-K.
Right.
And I think I understood from the meeting that the superintendent and Dr. Colo would come up with some data for us to use as we advocate for that.
Right.
Yeah. And we also have Mr. Fesco's wish on the teachers on the, after they
Right.
retire, returning back. So that's a good platform issue,
All right.
shortage.
Any other discussion? If not, please vote.
Thank you.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Adams.
Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, we have covered item number 1. We do not have any items in number 2. We did the add and delete for number 3, so we are on to item number 4, other items, and recommend approval for items A and B as noted on the board agenda with details provided in the board backup.
Thank you. Do I have a recommendation to approve the superintendent's recommendations?
So moved.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? If not, please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right, we have 2 reports, internal auditing, inventory adjustment reports, 50 cost centers. Do I have a recommendation?
I'll move both reports in affirmative.
Just give me one.
Okay, well, the first one. The
Do I have a
inventory
second?
adjustment reports 50 cost
I'll
centers.
second that.
Have a second. Any discussion? Besides, thank you for a great job, and thank you for watching over the items and for the taxpayers of Escambia County. They do a great service. Any other discussion? If not, please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Item number 2, summary of inventory reports that were submitted. Any motion?
I'll move in the affirmative.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yeah, and I hope the public makes note of how efficiently and effectively our district maintains our resources.
Thank you very much. Very true.
A net write-down of 0.55% and a 0.18% of total monetary value inventory, so, of loss, so.
Thank you. All right, if not any other discussion, please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right, Mr. Superintendent, is there anything you'd like to say since you've had your first starting of school?
Yes.
What a wonderful event.
Yes, always exciting to have the students come back on campus and teachers and support employees ready to go. We're up and running. We've had some challenges, certainly, with some of our employee shortages. Bus drivers have been remarkable. One of our high school principals was telling me the other day, had a bus drivers dropping off, coming back, and it's just combating that shortage, but that is a remarkable team. We've had some shortages in food service. They, quite frankly, I don't know how they do it, but they get the kids fed, and they just make it happen, and same with our custodial crews as well. So those have been our big challenges, but we have dedicated employees, and we're seeing it, and we're seeing the teamwork. So we're off to a great year of learning, and excited about it.
Thank you. Any comments from the board? I'll go with 2.
Yeah. I want to take this moment as a moment of personal privilege, I guess, that I really want to thank Darlene Hart. Through this week and the shortages and everything going on, I've had several instances that I've needed to call Darlene. Not only has she been professional, but she has been enthusiastic. She has been so calm, and I know that must reflect to her staff that she is a great example to that whole department, and I want to publicly say how appreciative I am of the things that she's doing, but in the way she's doing it too. So positive, so caring. Even when it's a no, she does it in such a way as it's fine. You know, it's like, well, I won't say what Mr. Ross used to tell us. We'll do that after we're off the mics. But I do appreciate it. Darlene, you and your entire department and staff, kudos to you. And again, if there's something that we could do to help you, just let us know.
Well said.
You can drive a bus?
I can't.
Yeah.
I bet you could.
I don't think we passed.
Well, I'd like to, but Mr. Dennis would never give me a license.
No. Okay. Mr. Adams?
Yeah, I've got 2 items. Mr. Chair, fellow board members, I am happy to provide notification that Representative Salzman, Commissioner Bagosh, and I have had conversations on the importance of resolving the hazardous pathway situation for students attending Beulah Middle School. As the superintendent and the board knows, we're currently taking buses across the road to pick up kids to get them across the road. And I've had many calls and complaints this week about the situation around the school. This situation, we recognize, will only grow worse as more subdivisions and commercial businesses are constructed. I believe we will hear an announcement soon on details of a plan to eliminate some of the hazardous pathway conditions around Beulah Middle School. The eliminations of these pedestrian hazards would also provide relief for our current critical bus driver shortage, so we can get the kids to school. And I know we appreciate and welcome any assistance that Representative Salzman and Commissioner Bagash can provide to improve the safety of our students. The second item, we've heard some bad news today. I know probably Patty saw it. Billy Ann Gay, the Director of Advocacy and Legislative Services, is taking another job. And I congratulated her, sadly, today, and because she is just such a marvelous representative for FSBA. She does a lot of great work. She got me through that Capitol so many times when I was lost, and I know we'll all miss her, but we do congratulate her for getting a new job, maybe a higher paying job, but boy, she did a lot of work for FSBA. So whoever fills that position will have some big shoes to fill.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Edler, anything?
Yes. I would like to thank Darlene and Sean. They are good leaders. First day of school, superintendent and I were on the road at 5 o'clock in the morning, meeting bus stops in District 3. And we were dressed for the part. I had a T-shirt that was made for me by Darlene with the little bus on it, so everybody knew where we were coming from. It was a beautiful experience because we were in a neighborhood engaging with parents and with students. At first, they were a bit reluctant to accept us because they were looking like, who is that black woman and white man coming up in our neighborhood this time of morning? It's dark. We got to take care of our children. But when they found out who we were, they were so glad to talk with us, to stand on the corner. It was a good experience. I have another project in mind. I will be talking to the director of that and see when the superintendent is ready to put this dog and pony show on the road again. One other thing, I have told the superintendent, your job is safe with me. I don't want any parts of it. Thank you.
Ms. Hightower?
I don't really have anything in particular. The gentleman that spoke to us during the public forum, I wanted to make sure that we make available, we talked briefly, I think Friday, about the options out there for when students are having to quarantine and all, and I just wonder if you might make some statements about that so that people know that while we're not doing remote because it was not approved this time, that our teachers are trying to provide that educational experience even when the students are not there.
Yes, thank you very much. The state has actually issued a special attendance code if a student is quarantined. This attendance code is an excused, and let me repeat that, excused absence. The condition with that is the student is provided the ability to stay up to speed with the lessons. So that can be done in an array of ways. That can be done electronically with students going in to pick up links, email curriculum, email activities to do. There can be written work provided. There's just, the list can go on and on and on, but that's something that our schools are aware of, and that's going to be critical for our kids to do the very best that can be done to stay up to speed with the lessons at hand. So we're very appreciative of the state allowing us, because that really defines the situation well in their attendance record, and emphasizing what our teachers do. Our teachers have for long periods of time worked on makeup work and so forth. This is a little different, though, because of the extended time. So what will emerge from, we have super dedicated principals and assistant principals and curriculum coordinators who will be making sure that this process is implemented. And when you have creative teachers like we do, and it was very visible last year, they step up and make it happen. They're a dedicated group of people. They'll come up with the unique ways to do that well. So, for example, a science class with a lab, that may look one way as to how a student on quarantine is staying up to speed with that lesson. And a French class where a student's learning a foreign language, that activity that they're responsible for doing may be very different than the science lab activity. So our teachers will craft those activities and work with our students.
I have one more question. How quickly have we been able to get Chromebooks back into the hands of students? I mean, if we're going through this quarantine so early in the year, are we able to get those Chromebooks to those students that are quarantined?
It's a good question. I'm going to ask Mr. Dennis if he can chime in on that.
I'll chime in by simply saying I'm not aware of anything that's hindering our normal distribution. We certainly had our sufficient supply, and the distribution was managed over the summer, so
Okay.
shouldn't be any problems. And if we encounter any, obviously we're going to react quickly because of the circumstances.
Thank you.
That it?
Just thanks to everybody for, and again, yeah, I guess all of us were on the phone with Darlene a lot, bless her heart. And you're right. The one particular person that called me, I was really trying to tell her that the parent who called me was mad at everybody else, but was happy with the people in transportation.
Well, I want to thank everybody for the beginning of school, because everybody has a part
Yes.
in getting things going. And I think as we get into the program, and I see Darlene, I just want to make sure that you do put a sign up that said Bill Slayton hadn't called her. So that's right.
All right.
And that may not mean that the bus rider line is any shorter at Ransom or Kingsville, but each day it does look a little better. So thank you very much. And for everybody,
Yeah.
if you've never experienced a beginning of school, welcome, because it's quite an event, and we have done an outstanding job. So I agree. Anything else? If not, folks, go home. This meeting is adjourned.